talking about preterite tense verbs. So when do we use the preterite tense? There's a place for you to write this down. Past tense with a time frame, completed actions, when something is over and done with, and it happened one time in the past. So what are those verb endings? AR verbs have haste, o, amos, aron, and when we plug it into the verb, that would make that monté, montaste, montó, montamos, montaron. Did you know that the first and third persons have accents? Look right there. Monté and montó. So there are accents on the first and third. So here's some examples. Let's use a vocabulary that's one of ours, like ahorrar. I save a lot of money. So I need the yo form of ahorrar in the preterite. Yo ahorré mucho dinero. Escalar. She climbed the mountain. So escalar in the past tense for she. That'd be ella escaló la montaña. Then we put up the tent. So montar. So that'd be nosotros montamos la tienda de campaña. The next set of endings are ER verbs. And so those are iste, yo, imos, hieron. Again, if you'll notice, first and third have an accent. One on the I, one on the O. So for comer, that'd be yo, comí, tú, comiste, él, comió, nosotros comimos, and ellos comieron. Some examples with the ER verbs, okay, in the preterite. Ofrecer, that's one of our vocabulary words. You offered to help them put up the tent. So the tú form of ofrecer, that'd be iste. So tú ofreciste ayudar a montar la tienda de campaña. Meterse, that's one of those reflexive verbs. It's an ER verb as well. My friend got in the tent. Mi amigo se metió en la tienda de campaña. And then comer, I ate next to the campfire. Yo comí al lado de la fogata. We also have IR verbs, and if you'll notice, the ER and the IR verb endings are the exact same. So we have iste, yo, imos, hieron, again, accents on the first and third person. So that'd be yo subí, tú subiste, él subió, nosotros subimos, ellos subieron. Some examples with IR verbs, like subir, to go up. I went up a tree. Yo subí el árbol. Vivir, to live. Many birds lived in the tropical forest. Muchos pájaros vivieron en la selva tropical. So let's talk about what are called preterite verb cues. These are words that say, hey, pay attention to me. I'm going to be in the past tense, okay? So if we see one of these verbs at the beginning of a sentence, we know that it's going to be in the preterite. So the word for yesterday is ayer, day before yesterday, anteayer, last night, anoche, the other day, el otro día, 2 days ago, hace 2 días. Of course, the 4 and 5, the other day, could be el otro mes, el otro lunes, and then hace 2 días could also be hace 3 años, hace 2 meses. Okay, so that's just a time unit there. Other ones are 2 years ago. Okay, like I said, we could use that, hace 2 años. Last week would be la semana pasada. Of all the last, this is the only one that's going to be feminine because of la semana. Like last month would be el mes pasado, last year, el año pasado, and last Monday, el lunes pasado. So we can put months or days or years, anything in those. But these go at the beginning of a sentence to let you know that, hey, I'm about to be in the past tense. Also included on this is we wanted to make a list of what regular verbs and irregular verbs that we know that are in the preterite. So these are verbs that are in our vocabulary. So we have ahorrar, escalar, llenar, navegar, observar, remar, and utilizar. You notice that a couple of them have a little star next to it. We're going to talk about verbs that end in gar, zar, and car. Okay, we'll talk about those later. Irregular verbs that are AR verbs, there's a place for you to write those. Estar, andar, and dar. Andar can mean to walk, but dar una caminata is to take a stroll or to take a hike. ER verbs, the one that are in our current vocabulary is encender, en meterse en, and ofrecer. And then some irregular ER verbs that we know are hacer, ser, querer, haber, ver, poder, poner, saber, conocer, tener, and traer. We're going to be looking specifically at a few of these in the end of this chapter, and we're going to be using those. Regular IR verbs, okay, we have conseguir, which means to get. And then irregulars, we have divertirse, seguir, ir, venir, decir, and conducir. And again, there's some of these that we'll specifically be looking at in this chapter. So let's talk about the irregular yo forms. They're actually not considered irregular. They're considered regular, but because they have a little different ending, I decided to call them irregulars. So we have car. Okay, CAR is going to change to que with an accent on the E. Accents are important because it changes the meaning of the word. So for practicar, we have yo practiqué, tú practicaste. Yo busqué, tú buscaste. Yo saqué, tú sacaste. So let's try this one. It says, last Friday, I practiced tennis. El viernes pasado, yo practiqué al tenis. Yesterday, I looked for souvenirs. Ayer, yo busqué recuerdos. Another irregular yo form is the GAR ones, God. God changes to ge, accent on the E. We have navegar. Yo navegué, ella navegó. Yo jugué, ella jugó. Yo llegué, and ella llegó. So an example is, last month I rode a canoe on the river. El mes pasado yo navegué en canoa en el río. Two days ago, I arrived at the beach. Hace 2 días, yo llegué a la playa. Okay, ZAR. ZAR changed to se, accent on the E. So we have yo organicé, ellos organizaron. Yo utilicé, ellos utilizaron. Yo almorcé, ellos almorzaron. So last night, I organized our trip. Anoche yo organicé nuestro viaje. The other day, I ate lunch at the restaurant. El otro día, yo almorcé en el restaurante. All right, now going